Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody. Let the record show that, as Director Walker just announced, Ed Gainey is not present today. He's in Harrisburg, but the rest of the board is present. And we'll begin with public comment. And we received, I think, 4 submissions of public comment, which I'll go ahead and read momentarily. Yeah, unless there's anything that's come in the last few minutes, I've got 4 items to read out. The first is from Swain Uber, housing fellow with the Community Justice Project, who has provided comment regarding the 2021 Housing Opportunity Fund allocation plan and wrote, I wanted to thank everyone, including in particular both the HOF Advisory Board and staff, for including and expanding funding for legal services for Pittsburghers in the midst of a housing crisis, from eviction proceedings to foreclosure issues. They have listened to both the legal community and the housing advocates and are taking a big step forward in terms of providing a right to counsel for those in these sorts of proceedings. We know the need is there, and we know that legal representation and advice can be the difference between resecuring stable housing and homelessness. We look forward to continuing to work with you all, including those on this board, to develop the specifics around program guidelines and other funding sources, and to work together to strengthen protections and supports for those facing housing instability, especially in the midst of the current eviction crisis brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you. The second submission of public comment is from Megan Hammond, who writes, actually, it's not. It says it's from Megan Hammond, but the comment reads, my name is Raymond Moore, and I am the Education and Outreach Coordinator for the Fair Housing Partnership of Greater Pittsburgh. Taking a look over all the allocation of funds by the URA and the upcoming discussion of an additional $10 million in funding by the URA for 2021, my question is one of oversight, and if the policies that dictate the designation of funding is one of equity or equality. The pandemic has made communication to those most affected difficult, and we're at a risk of disproportionate assistance without an equity lens. Also, in April of 2020, $300,000 were utilized by the Housing Stabilization Program. Given the increase in the numbers of those affected by COVID, there does not appear to be an end in sight for the current shutdown. Will the demonstration funds once again be available as a flexible response to the pandemic outside of the listed parameters, such as eviction, prevention, moving costs, and legal assistance? And maybe we can answer that when we get to the discussion on the annual allocation plan. So I think that's what that question refers to. The third public comment is our monthly update from the Lower Hill Executive Management Committee. This is the October progress report, which reads very much the same structure, and unfortunately at this point I would say the similar themes as the past couple of updates, but I'm going to read it. It says, during these challenging times of COVID, the EMC board is working diligently with all Lower Hill stakeholders in the community to achieve the goals of the CSIP. At this time, best efforts have not been demonstrated. Here are some of the EMC challenges. Community Reinvestment Plan. Since May, the EMC has been waiting to receive FMB and PAR's counteroffer to the Community Reinvestment Plan for a block. Still pending, no update. On stopgap protection, says on August 21st, EMC requested from PAR a stopgap protection that would require PAR before any takedown proceedings to give the EMC 8 weeks to consider community benefits, specifically the Community Reinvestment Plan. EMC is waiting on PAR's response, still pending, no update. Lower Hill redevelopment website access. BPG has secured the URL and editing privileges to the Lower Hill redevelopment website. The EMC seeks complete content management control of the Lower Hill redevelopment website, EMC community tab. Having one central location to update the public of the CSIP agendas is vital. BPG has presented a set of rules for shared editing, which does not comply with the EMC. Here is one of the regulations which concern the EMC. BPG maintains control of the overall site, including the EMC tab, and will notify Lance Harrell of any changes it makes to the EMC tab. The EMC is committed to assuring that the implementation of the CSIP and full disclosure to the Urban Redevelopment Authority staff and board of directors such that a thoughtful and informed decisions that support our end goal can be made. Please direct all inquiries to Lance Harrell, CSIP project administrator for the Lower Hill EMC. And then finally, we have comment from Steve Mazza of the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters. And this actually, I'll read it, but this is regarding an item that is not on this month's agenda. It was on last month's agenda and then and actually not voted on last month. It was tabled last month. So it says the city of Pittsburgh is prideful of the assistance of the Urban Redevelopment Authority is providing to our community through financial investment in future project development. As you and your fellow board members know, the ultimate goal of the Urban Redevelopment Authority is to assist in development that creates mutual beneficial partnership and does not just build projects, but that builds people. That is why the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters must bring to your attention the irresponsible decision the board would be making if financial assistance was provided to TWG Construction and the Connection at Southside Apartments project. Out-of-state TWG Construction has not made a good effort to plan for a beneficial partnership with the city of Pittsburgh. They have not decided to partner with responsible and reliable contractors in our community. Instead, they've hired Five Star Drywall to be part of their project at 2984 Sydney Street. Five Star Drywall has used labor brokers, tax fraud, and wage theft practices to help cut costs and take advantage of construction workers. The use of labor brokers is a serious problem in the construction industry. Labor brokers use cash payments and unreported work to create larger profits for themselves and the contractors that hire them, while workers lose the wages they deserve and local taxpayers lose out on tax revenue that would have been paid if the work was reported. It is estimated the United States has not received a combined $8.4 billion in federal and state tax revenue. This is revenue that should be going to Social Security, Medicare, and funding in needed investment in roads, bridges, and schools. It is also estimated that 2.16 million workers in our country are misclassified or, quote, off the books, unquote. We as a city cannot allow ourselves to incentivize these types of practices through taxpayer funding for projects. The Urban Redevelopment Authority knows what the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters is about. We are an organization that believes in training the next generation of construction workers, helping our community, and defending workers' rights. We asked for you to not consider funding assistance to the Connection at Southside Apartments project unless responsible contractors are utilized. Please know you can reach out to our union with any questions or clarifications that you might have. We are always here to help. Sincerely, Steve Mazza. Thank you. So unless there was something that came in super late, I think that was all the public comment we received.
That's all the public comment received to date.
Great. Then the next order of business would be approval of minutes from the October 8th, 2020 board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I think that is a motion, a second from Councilman Lavelle and Director Powell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries and the minutes are approved. And then I have one announcement before moving into the series of other announcements, which is that first, I want to make it known that the URA board today met prior to today's public meeting in a closed session for the purpose of listening to briefings and collecting information from staff on a number of topics, so the Lower Hill, the Avenues of Hope, City of Pittsburgh's capital budget, and the Pittsburgh Land Bank, but that no deliberations occurred and no actions were taken. And with that, I think we can begin the announcement of the RFPs and RFQs, RFIs, and bids.
Good afternoon. Later this month, the URA will issue an RFQ for appraisal service providers to join a panel that the URA can draw on for certain appraisal services. This is what we draw on when evaluating potential acquisitions, dispositions, and certain lending opportunities. Our current panel contracts expire at the end of this year, so we'll be releasing the RFQ in just a week or two on our website, as well as reaching out to our current providers and MWBE firms that are not currently on our panel, with the hope of making or finalizing the new appraisal panel by the end of this year.
Thank you.
And
Keep going.
separately, we'll be issuing an RFQ for title service providers for a similar but different panel, for title service providers to perform certain title clearing services pertaining to city-owned and different tax foreclosed properties that the URA decides to transact on. This will also be released in late November, in just a week or two, similarly to the appraisal services RFQ on our website, and we'll also be reaching out to current providers and MWBE contacts to join as well. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
This is for an RFP that InvestPGH has put out. InvestPGH is a new emerging community development finance institution that the URA is helping to launch. And so we are looking for tax and audit services for that new organization. The information is on the URA's website, and any eligible business is welcome to apply.
Great.
Hello, I'm Mac Lujinski, project engineer. The URA will be releasing invitation for bids for 925 Technology Drive. It's a new parking garage in the Pittsburgh Technology Center. This release will include 4 prime contracts: general, structural, mechanical, electrical. The actual release date is yet to be determined, but I'm shooting for July of next year. January of next year. The bids will remain open for 4 to 5 weeks. And I want to point out some of the major highlights of this project. There will be on-site solar arrays that will provide up to 75% of the direct electricity needs. There'll be dedicated spaces for fuel-efficient vehicles, including 12 electric vehicles, charging stations. There will be significant bike parking at this garage. The garage will include 6 levels with 600 spaces. And we are seeking Park Smart Silver certification. And this new garage will facilitate new developments and existing tenants within PTC.
Okie doke.
And
Thanks.
then in correlation with the request for bids, we will be releasing an RFP for construction management services. I will be releasing that on Monday, November 16th. That will be open for, I think we changed it today to 5 weeks. Are there any questions?
Not from me. Anybody else have questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, it's Tom Link. Thanks, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This announcement is a request for qualifications we'd like to put out for a contractor capacity equity program that would be related to procurement of services for build out of the proposed First Source hiring center, which the board is certainly aware of. What we're proposing here through this RFQ is a partnership with the Macero Corporation to pilot a capacity building program where the procurement of these services would be used as an opportunity to really to build new capacity for a small minority contractor identified through this RFQ process that could, basically use the opportunity to build additional capacity to, take this opportunity to grow into a general contractor. And we think it's an exciting pilot, and we're excited to work with Macero on this program. Our hope is to release the RFQ certainly by next week, and work through a process by the end of this year. Any selection of the selection and actual contracting would come back to the board as we would move that forward. But we would like to proceed with this RFQ for this pilot program. Steve Estero is actually on here at the board meeting in case there are further questions or inputs, but I will leave it at that and open it up for any questions if there may be any. So thank you.
I have a question. So this will start with the first source center,
Yeah.
but the idea is to, hear proof of concept and then move forward.
Yeah, potentially. That's the idea. I mean, I'm kind of a believer. I mean, I think, in big picture, this is the kind of thing I think we'd like to do more of. Like, so when we have opportunities to, frankly, invest monies in projects, how can we use it not just to procure services, but to help small businesses to build capacity to grow their business, generate, wealth and income and jobs. We think this particular project makes sense to try something because we control it. It's not a third-party RFP. It's not, candidly, it's not a huge dollar number. I mean, this isn't going to be like so we think it's a nice fit to try this. And if it works well and we can build a process that's repeatable and scalable, I think it is something we can consider for other opportunities moving forward.
What I'll also add for the board is that you commissioned an RFP to revamp the MWBE program back in 2016. The program began being revamped in 2017 with a strategic plan. And one of the precepts of the plan was to develop a contractor capacity building program. Mr. Macero has done an excellent job of pitching a concept that could be worth looking at. It's something that we've tried to work on for many years. So I want to thank Mr. Macero for being willing to be a programmatic partner to us to figure out how to replicate this and scale it. So if he is here, I think it would be
Steve, are you here?
Yes,
Okay, sorry. Normally I look around the room, but all I see is my PowerPoint slide here. So thanks,
Yeah.
Steve. Appreciate it if you want to add something. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you to everyone. Yeah, this is a program that it's, you can see the slide, but it's meant to really build capacity and have us involved with a MBE firm, diverse firm, leading the joint venture, and then we'd have a criteria of things that we want to have at the conclusion of the project, where we could say this contractor had the need to improve on cost control or putting together a bid packages or an estimate, and we're going to measure that on a weekly basis. So there's an actual deliverable at the end of the project where they're stronger in terms of their capabilities by the end of the project. And we think it's a powerful way to begin to really make change and improvement in our construction industry in Pittsburgh.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for your leadership on this.
Thank you very much.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board on this or any of the other announcements?
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, Diamante, in the future, if there are, I think, more things that the MWBE program are looking to do to be more innovative, I think I would like to be briefed on that. I didn't realize that there was before me a request to kind of revamp, rescale the program. And so if there are any other updates, I personally would like a briefing. I think that this is a really great step in the right direction.
I will have somebody arrange a meeting for us to have that briefing. So I actually came on as the MWBE program officer to revamp that strategy. So I'd love to share with you a little bit about where we've come from and where we're headed. Would love to get your feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I think that's the end of the announcements, correct?
That concludes the announcements.
Okay, so before there are a couple of Lower Hill updates and announcements before we move into the voting agenda. that we just want to make the public aware of. So first, regarding the first interim takedown requirement. So the governing document for the Lower Hill development is what's called the amended and restated comprehensive option agreement. And that was signed in June 2018, June 20th, 2018, by the URA, the Sports and Exhibition Authority, and PAR, the developer there. And section 3.1 of that option agreement includes a section called the first interim takedown requirement. And it requires that the optionee, or the developer, which is PAR, take down begin the development construction on at least 6.45 acres of the 28 acres by October 22nd of 2020. Clearly that deadline has passed. Today is whatever today is, November 12th. So PAR has missed that deadline. PAR has proposed to the URA a new deadline of April 30th, 2021 as a revised deadline date. The URA and the SEA are working together to determine the appropriate next steps in response to that request, but we want to make the public aware that that request has been made. Those governing documents, the option agreement, also contain sort of the consequences of the PAR missing their takedown deadline, which are that a certain percentage of parking revenue from the on-site parking currently taking place in the 28 acres be set aside and put into escrow. So that's one thing. Separately, back in October of 2019, so roughly a year ago, the URA board voted to approve what's called the conceptual development plan for the takedown of Block E. Block E is the mixed-use project that part of the development that includes the live entertainment venue, ground floor commercial space, and structural parking. And the resolution, when the URA voted on that, when the board voted on that, we first provided a deadline of May 10th, 2020 for that conceptual development plan. Then later in May of 2020, in the midst, of the sort of beginning of COVID, we voted to amend and extend that resolution to December 10th of 2020. It is now our plan to consider at our December 2020 meeting, so that's next month's board meeting, a further extension of our approval of the conceptual development plan for Block E. So we have said many times that, when it comes to Lower Hill, we want to be as transparent as possible and give as much public notice as possible to any contemplated actions. So we're making this announcement today to provide a 30-day notice of that potential action at next month's board meeting. I also want to kind of draw the distinction between the two things. The first thing, the takedown deadline that PAR missed, consequences of that are in the option agreement. PAR has requested an extension of that deadline. That is not the thing that we're saying we're going to put on our agenda next month. What we're saying we're going to put on our agenda for next month is a potential extension of the preliminary approval, which is really approval of a conceptual development plan for Block E. That's the plan where they said what we'll build if we take this down is a mixed-use project with live entertainment, ground floor commercial space, and structured parking. Hopefully that distinction is clear. Third Lower Hill update is regarding the Greater Hill District Reinvestment Fund guidelines. So people may remember that as part of the Lower Hill LRTA financing structure, something called the Greater Hill District Reinvestment Fund was established to attract funding and generate revenue for implementing the goals, objectives, strategies, and processes outlined in the CSIP, the Community Collaboration Implementation Plan. And then in a few months ago, staff, in May of 2020, staff gave a presentation on the draft Greater Hill Reinvestment Fund guidelines. So those would be the rules for the governance of that fund that'll be funded by the LRTA proceeds. We got a bunch of public input on those guidelines, and staff has continued to work on them. There have been ongoing conversations with community stakeholders, including at a board level. And it's our hope to continue to make progress on those over the course of the coming weeks, so that I think what's realistic at this point is that at the January 2021 board meeting, those guidelines would again be presented to the public, to the board and to the public for review. And then the goal would be to vote on them so that they can be implemented and have the structure of the reinvestment fund up and ready to go for the February of 2021 board meeting. So again, Greater Hill District Reinvestment Fund guidelines hopefully will be presented publicly at the January board meeting and then voted at the February board meeting. Okay. So I think that takes us into the first voting agenda item, which is
Actually, no, Sam, this is actually the first slate of announcements. We've gone through RFPs and RFQs, so we'll now look at announcements.
Oh, sorry. Well, I stand corrected. Jessica, you up first?
Yes, just a couple quick announcements. The 9% low-income housing tax credit pre-application. So since our October board meeting, like a couple days after the October board meeting, PHFA came out with their tentative due date for next round of 9% low-income housing tax credit applications, which is February 5th. And so we went ahead and issued a pre-application RFP for us to get an understanding of what deals plan to apply for that. And it was due on Monday of this week, because we need enough time to review them and get to you either at the December board or the January board with some preliminary commitments to be able to put in people's applications. So it was a very fast time around. We received 5 deals on Monday, but if anybody was not aware that it was out there and planned to apply this year for PHFA, please let us know. We just want to be open and transparent that due to the fast timing, it was not announced at last month's board, but if anybody missed it, please let us know. Thank you. And then this is our typical COVID housing, which is our housing stabilization program dashboard that you see every month. You can see that we are now up to, if you look at the blue part of the circle, 981 people that have access, that have received funding through the program since the middle of March. And I will talk about the sources for this program in a little bit more detail when I talk about the HOF allocation plan, but you can see that we basically have, you can see the 4.3 million there, and a couple more million coming. It's really up to about a $7 million program right now. And with some of the sunsetting of the state and county program, our providers are very busy, but they are still taking applicants, and people are still welcome to call 211 to apply for the program.
Thank you.
This is our COVID lending dashboard for business lending. This will be the last time that we present this. This is the wrap up of the 2 programs that we launched in response to COVID, which was the Emergency Loan Fund back in March and the Recovery Loan Fund in June. We have continued to evolve our products and services in response to COVID, but those 2 programs have closed, and this is our final reporting. As you can see, we have closed 284 loans in these 2 programs and deployed $6.8 million across them. So we're very excited about the work that's been done. We, of course, still have other programs that are available, but wanted to give you a wrap up of these programs. Again, this will be the last time that we present this particular slide. We are continuing to do our traditional lending. And we have, as you can see here, still closed on 41 traditional loans. We are also very much growing our newest program, which is the minority business program. And at that one, we have closed 6 loans since it just launched about a month ago. So we are very active there, and we are underwriting more than 30 other businesses through that program across the city. There is a note on here that we will continue to report. You'll notice Invest PGH. We will be closing loans through our micro lending program, both through Invest PGH and through the URA. And so not to lose track of those metrics, you will see that we will add that here. Invest PGH has closed on 4 micro loans through that sister program, I guess we can call it. We have, of course, been following some great borrowers here. Deidre Washington, who has a coaching firm that we have recently funded through our micro enterprise program, and Black Forge Coffee, who is an existing client who has pivoted to do some mobile coffee work around venues, music venues and other event venues. And they're doing a revenue sharing program that's very innovative to really be a win-win for both parties.
Great, thanks. And just to sort of clarify or reiterate, there continue to be plenty of opportunities and assistance available for businesses, small businesses who are struggling in the current environment due to COVID or due to the economic downturn. We're gonna, those in the future, they'll be reported as part of the overall commercial lending dashboard, not an ongoing separate dashboard, right?
Correct.
That's correct. Mhm.
Thanks. Okay. Hazelwood, this is Allison Jones.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Okay, so I'm here to introduce the Hazelwood Library Redevelopment Project. It's located on Monongahela Street and Hazelwood Avenue in the neighborhood of Hazelwood. And the properties are City of Pittsburgh owned. The structure that is the Hazelwood Library is in a cooperation agreement between the city and the URA. The building is 3 stories and it includes a ground level auditorium. There are some roof repairs that are necessary, mostly because of water damage, and we're working with the city to ameliorate that issue. Throughout the process, the building will attain historic designation, and the architects who have been retained have historic preservation expertise. The building offers 10,300 square feet of non-residential space, and there will be no residential units included in the redevelopment. And finally, the project is supported by the Councilman O'Connor's office, and if necessary, may contribute to the roof repair. The total redevelopment budget, including landscaping and parking, is estimated to be $3.8 million. Those costs may increase due to the time lapses of COVID and not knowing exactly when the construction will begin. And the redevelopment team consists of Pittsburgh Gateways HQ LLC. Jake Volker is here to field any questions. The Greater Hazelwood Historical Society, McLaughlin, Cornelius and Filoni, the architect I mentioned, Gendico Construction Corporation, and engineering firms Barton and WBCM. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that update. I think is Maya Few next with the
Hi, this is Leah.
community meeting announcement.
This is Leah. I'll be doing it. The Second Center Avenue RFQ community meeting hosted by District 6 will be held It sounds like Leia's having a little bit of technical difficulty, so I will cover this announcement.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can anyone hear me now?
We can hear you, but we got like robot Leia.
That's weird. Is it better?
It's really distorted. Your voice is really distorted.
I will cover it. So is my voice distorted?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
All right. So District 6 will host a virtual meeting for the Center Avenue Round 1 outcomes on Saturday, November 14th at 10 a.m. The goal of this meeting is to solicit feedback from the community, the Hill District community, in response to Round 1 proposals before they are advanced to the URA's board for final approval, which I believe will occur in December. So we are encouraging the community to attend that meeting via Zoom. If you need more information, you can email me or you can email Leia Matthews.
Great. Thanks, Councilman Lavelle, for hosting that.
And this is Corinne Cicedo. I'll be covering this slide, the next one. This is just a quick update for the board. Just I think we came to you in September talking about this commercial rent relief program. We got it launched in October. We've gotten plenty of applicants so far. I think 21. We've got maybe 14, a little bit more kind of in the agreement process. We're getting the kind of business we expected: the brick and mortar restaurants, salons, stores, bars. 10 minority-owned businesses, 14 women-owned businesses, and we'll probably broadcast it out even a little bit more now. We really went through our business district managers for the sort of first round of promotion, and now that I think we've got a little bit of the back end streamlined, that hopefully we can get even a few more people in the door. And the results have been kind of mixed in terms of some landlords have erred on the side of smaller rent reductions, but some have honestly been larger than I was expecting. So just a quick update. If there's any questions on that program.
Can you just give a, like, I don't know, 15-second reminder on kind of what the program provides?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. So this program, again, was a sort of incentivizing landlords to reduce their rent on commercial tenants. And basically, if a landlord chose to reduce their rent, we would cover half of that reduction. So that sort of matching idea that we've done with a couple programs. And yeah, I mean, I think a lot of landlords understand the challenges that their tenants are experiencing, and are understand it's going to be a rough winter. So they have been open to working with us and working with their tenants on allowing some flexibility. The reason why we did that sort of 50-50 split is actually doubles our impact. We can really leverage the money we're putting in to get essentially an equal match from the landlord to reduce that rent.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then this slide, we just thought it'd be good to give you guys a quick update, kind of like the dashboards. Business Solutions oftentimes comes to you on the front end of some of these programs, but because there's not a lot of board actions in the middle, we like to give you a little bit of a window into some of the results of some of these programs. So for example, we work a lot with small businesses who need just some technical assistance. How do they get their accounting in order, or like the GoGo program, how do they get their website in order? So you can see there, this might actually be a little bit light compared to the real numbers, but it's like at least 260 hours have been provided for free to business owners. The next one down is an example of some of the money we leverage. So for example, that loyalty bond program, where we were leveraging gift cards. We saw about, I think, $50,000 that we were able to leverage into from folks who are just buying gift cards for businesses. The website's improved 19. I think we have another 30, 35 in our round 2 of the GoGo program. So that'll jump up a lot in the next month or two. And then in terms of events, we've hosted 10. We've been part of dozens of others, just trying to get the word out there about URA programs, our loans. Again, some of the GoGo program, all the stuff we're trying to launch. we've been pretty active on the webinar side to really target those smaller businesses that need a little bit of help these days. And then to the right, you can see a little example of some of the webinars we've been doing. We did one recently on safe spaces, how businesses can, do some best practices with their cleaning, with their ventilation. If there's any ways they can improve their ventilation to make it a little safer for customers. We got some experts, some actually small businesses that we work with who are involved in cleaning and HVAC to come in and share some of those best practices. So just to give you a quick idea, and then actually I'll shift to Josette for the next slide, who will give you just a couple more examples of what we've been working on.
Hi, everybody. I'm Josette Fitzgibbons. Just really quick updates here. Through all of our programs, our webinars, our grants to our business districts, our GoGo program, we have engaged about 760 some businesses. So we've been touching a lot of businesses, getting our information out. We've also been working in our department on showing URA properties, not just the Hunt Armory and the bigger ones, but some of the smaller ones as well. Claire and Healy on our staff does most of that. And we've shown about 33 properties so far, trying to get businesses into spaces when we can. And we also do a lot of work, Claire does a lot of work be available even if they're
I think
not
Josette's
and
frozen
connect-
on us up there.
we've had.
You're
Can you
back.
still hear me?
Yeah, you froze up for a second, but you're back now.
Oh, okay. So we, on the workforce development side, we've had 2 expungement clinics and they've been really well attended. And we estimate that we've served about 20 of our business districts. And just looking at program highlights, we just did a round of BizBuzz grants. These are small, up to $3,000 grants to our business district groups. And these are just some of the programs you'll be seeing happening over the next couple of months, including a sidewalk art contest, chalk art contest. East Liberty's doing a virtual event, holiday window decorating. In Garfield, Bloomfield, and Lawrenceville are all working together on the Penn Main district to do a holiday subscription box. And then our last bit, next month we'll be doing a more in-depth update on Catapult, but the folks from Circles are working to do actually 2 events. I only have one here, one on Black Friday and one on Small Business Saturday. Black Friday at the Gallery on Penn and Small Business Saturday at the Gallery on Center. And they're actually setting them up to look like QVC or Shopping Channel studios. And they won't be having customers come in, but they'll be having vendors in from the classes showing their wares, and then folks will be able to purchase the products online. So I thought it was a really innovative way to kind of highlight the spaces as well as the vendors and get folks excited about the upcoming Gallery on Center in the Hill. Any questions about any of our updates?
I wanted to ask, who are the folks that we're working with for the workforce development expungement clinics?
I'm sorry, Lindsay, I didn't hear well on that.
No
one.
worries. I was asking who we partnered with for the expungement clinics.
So Tom, you can probably answer that better than I can.
I think Duquesne University Law was one of the primary partners that we had in that program. There were a few others as well, but we helped. I mean, our role is mostly in sort of setting up, helping to promote and provide visibility to the program, and then worked with the law school and other advocates from a programming perspective.
Yeah, Tom, Duquesne Law and the Penguins are the main.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Nathan. Go ahead, Nathan.
oh, sorry, I was going to say Duquesne Law and the Penguins were the main financial sponsors of that.
That's right. Thanks.
And Pierce Robinson has been our point of contact here at the URA to pull those together. He's worked very closely with Attorney Tracy McCants Lewis at the Penguins to facilitate these workshops.
Yeah, Pierce has done a great job.
Exciting. Do we have decent attendance at this?
I think we
From
had
what I
really,
see and what I hear, yes.
yeah, I think it was really well attended.
That's
I can
really
get those numbers for. I'll email it. I don't have the tip of my tongue, but they were it was well attended virtually, obviously.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, then I think now, I was ahead of myself earlier, but now we're, I think, ready to move on to today's voting agenda, broken down into 5 sections: administration, residential lending, investments, development services, business solutions, and then the agenda B. So we'll begin. Diamante, are you taking the first item? The Savvior.
I'm gonna go ahead and take that, Chairman.
Oh, okay.
The first item here is the Savvior Technology Solutions contract expansion. As the board is aware, the URA is moving away from some outdated software systems that do not adequately support our work into a couple new systems. We need to transfer the data from the old systems and clean the data and prep it. And there's a lot of steps involved with moving it from one system to the new systems. And so Savvior is going to be helping us with that. We have already been working with them previously on smaller items that we've used them for. And so this is really going to be an expansion of a current contract. The board did vote via email for the first $50,000 extension of the contract, which is why we'll be just ratifying that. The language here on the slide is incorrect. It should be ratification of the increase for the $50,000. And then we will be adding another $150,000 in order to really get through this phase of the work, which is intended to last a few weeks to really make sure that our systems are up and running appropriately. And we're really excited about it.
Yes.
Great.
It's become a necessity in order to modernize the URA's systems. As we take on more dollars and get more innovative, it has become clear that the current systems that we have will not serve those interests. And so we are looking to make some investments throughout between now and the end of 2021 to make those improvements.
Okay, makes sense. Any questions from the board? Any concerns? It's about modernizing so that we have, the ability to better serve the public and maintain IT security at the same time.
We're also consolidating systems, so we will be reducing the number of systems, which will increase, I think, the transfer of knowledge, data, and productivity.
Yeah, great. So if there are no questions, then a motion to approve will be in order.
So move.
Second.
Motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Savvior, not Savvior. Thank you.
Savvior. Did I say Savvior?
No, I think I said Savvior.
Oh, it is Savvior.
That's what it feels like right now.
Thank you, Diamond.
So moving into residential lending, we're going to start with the 2021 Housing Opportunity Fund allocation plan. Jessica, are you going to run us through this?
Yes, and this is exciting. In 2021, the Housing Opportunity Fund is going to be 4 years old. So a bunch of people that are watching this and everyone on the board, everybody was involved, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when the task force, really got around this issue of affordability and lack of affordable units in the city. And then, of course, in 2016, the legislation, with the help of the board and the housing advocates and city council, got passed. And in 2017, in December, it was funded at the amount of $10 million a year for 12 years. And then in June and July of 2018, the mayor appointed the first advisory board, 17-person advisory board. They asked the URA to administer the funding, and we had our first meeting in July 2018. One of the tasks of the advisory board, according to the legislation, is to do an allocation plan each year as to how to use the 10 million of assets and to take it through a public process to get to that allocation plan. And then once the advisory board votes on the allocation plan, it comes to this board as the governing board. Daniel, next slide. So you can see on this slide the timeline for this. For this year, we started the 2021 allocation plan process in August. We brought on a couple of community outreach consultants. Pittsburgh United and the Hilltop Alliance helped to distribute a survey that was created at the beginning of September by the advisory board and by URA staff. The survey went out to the public, and 430 people responded to the survey. The survey was asking about their housing needs. And then you can see here that it closed in early October. In the middle of October, in the first 2 weeks of October, we took that survey data and also supply and demand data that we had from our existing programs and met with the advisory board. We created a staff recommended plan based on both of those things. And then the advisory board, each member created their own recommended plan based on this knowledge that came from the surveys and from the supply and demand data. And we aggregated them together, came up with an average. In the middle of October, I think October 19th, there was a special public advisory board meeting where they voted on the plan that you're going to see here. It was put on our website for 2 weeks to receive additional public comment. And then they did a final vote on it last Thursday, and now it is here in front of you. Next slide. So this just kind of summarizes some of the community outreach we did. We had a couple of public Zoom meetings. There was social media and email distribution, press releases, and as I said, the two community partners also helped to distribute the survey. And on the next slide, you can start to see some of the survey data. So the top part is the demographics of the 430 households that completed the survey. You can see there in the middle, the top three income levels. So households underneath $25,000 a year was the most common household that completed the survey. You can see the top 5 neighborhoods that the survey data came from, though it did come from the entire city. And you can also see the percentage of renters. 54% of the people that took the survey were renters, and 45% of the people that took the survey were homeowners. Next slide. So the survey was really drilling down onto what are people's current housing needs and what programs are needed to be able to help with those. And of the top 5 programs that were of the 5 programs we're currently running out of HOF money, the one that was ranked the highest by the survey is the need for the rental gap program. And this is because people on the survey basically were saying that they need help finding a unit, that they can't find an affordable unit. And then the second need was the emergency rent money, emergency mortgage and rent funding. And then you can see the ranking of the other 5 programs. Additionally, the next section there says top 5 possible HOF programs. This is really, in the survey, we listed other things that qualify for the funding underneath the legislation that created the fund. And we just listed the 10 or 15 things that the legislation allows, and people ranked those. Making housing permanently affordable for a long time, up to 99 years, ranked in number 1. The need for accessibility modifications also ranked high as well. And you can just see at the bottom there sort of what were some of the comments we received, and the top answers were just that they need more available affordable housing stock, and also help keeping up with home repairs for low income or fixed income households. Next slide. And then this is just near the end of the survey, we asked people to rank it again. You can see it kind of ranked in the same order. and really was very similar to the first part of the survey, with the rental gap program coming in number 1 and housing stabilization program coming in number 2. Next slide. And then so here is the draft plan that was created based on that information, and also the URA providing to the advisory board what our current resources are and what our current expected pipelines are. On the development programs, the rental gap program, we've officially closed down the application right now to get caught up with all the tax credit deals and all the other large rental developments. So there's quite the pipeline for that. Additionally, the homeowner assistance program, that application has been shut down right now too, because we have over 100 people waiting to get through of applications that we've accepted. So we gave that information to the advisory board, and this is what they came up with. The column there in the middle is the draft 2021 allocation plan. So 4.1 million for the rental gap program, which helps to develop or preserve existing rental units. The for-sale development program, which helps communities acquire, rehab, and resell or build new construction for homeownership at 735,000. The homeowner assistance program, which helps the homeowners do repairs to their homes at 2.3. The down payment closing cost assistance at 600,000. The housing stabilization program at 575,000. You can see there the previous years that was higher, and I do want to explain the logic about this. This is our rental assistance program that we did move the demonstration funds from in 2019, 300,000 of that line item to HSP to be able to deploy very quickly when COVID happened. The good news is, though, we also received additional resources. We received $2 million of previous COVID CDBG a few months ago that came through the city. Council will be entertaining next week another $2 million allocation of the COVID CDBG money to the rental assistance program. We also received funding from the Pittsburgh Foundation, R.K. Mellon Foundation. Therefore, we are now up to a $7 million pot for HSP, which is why the advisory board is recommending a slightly smaller allocation than we have done in the past, because we have these additional resources. When this program was first created in 2018, through a lot of help we received from community advocates and the advisory board itself, this was the only source for this program. And now it is a large multi-source program. It is helping a lot of people right now. And so the advisory board felt like it was appropriate to put it in a 575. Per the question in the public comment, could the demonstration funding be moved into that program at some point? Yeah, I think anything is possible. The demonstration funding that you see here, 400,000, is really for if there's a housing emergency, like something we're not predicting in the future, or to pilot new programs, or if any of these other programs need more assistance. You can see here that the only other year that we had the demonstration funding was in 2019, and that 500,000 was used. 200,000 of it was used for the sprinkler system in the downtown emergency homeless shelter. That was an emergency that we needed to come to the table with those funding, and then the other 300,000 was used to see the COVID portion of HSP when COVID hit. So the 400,000 proposed here is to be in a similar situation where if there is a crisis, we are ready to deploy very quickly. And then lastly, there is a new program that the advisory board is recommending this year. We're calling it Legal Help. We will need to create program guidelines, which we will bring in front of this board in the next couple months, but we're setting it up at $250,000. And this was through the feedback that we received in the survey, and also advisory board members really wanting to make sure that we're ready and able to help people if evictions start to mount here in the future. And through contracting, we haven't drafted the guidelines yet, but I assume we will issue an RFP for legal firms to apply to be able to help in the residents that are in eviction. So that totals, and plus $1 million for the URA administration of all of these programs. over the years since we started in 2018, we started with just a couple of us. We are now up to probably about 8 people that regularly work on HOF funded programs, plus in the housing side, plus construction inspectors, our legal staff, finance staff, and a whole team of folks that help to deploy these programs. So one more slide, Daniel, next slide. You can see it's the same plan. The total column is what you just saw, but it is breaking it out by helping households at 30%, 50%, and 80% AMI, because the legislation does require that 50% of the funds go at 30% AMI, 25% of the funds go at 50% AMI, and 25% go at 80% AMI or below, or for down payment, it can actually go as high as 115. So that's how we're breaking it out by income level to get to the recommended $10 million. So that was really fast and furious. Does anybody have any questions?
I was very thorough. And just to note, I think Mr. Moore's question from the public comment was answered by your beautiful explanation on the prior slide also. So. Normally, this is something for which we get a lot of public comment when this plan is before us. Didn't see that this year. Maybe that's because of the opportunities provided to provide comment when the advisory board was drafting this and considering it. So can you just talk a little bit about sort of the degree of public participation in the development of the plan? That's really hard to accomplish in the midst of COVID, but.
Yeah, I will say I think we did. I think each year we're getting better at that, and this year, even though it is during the pandemic and things are online, we had more special online meetings than we have had before. So firstly, we did have Pittsburgh United and Housing, the Hilltop Alliance, under contract with us to spread the word. So they were out there spreading the word, telling people to take the survey, telling people to tune in. Our advisory board meetings are now filmed through the city council channel, and they put them on the city YouTube page so people can watch them, whenever they're able to. Additionally, so we started in September with our advisory board meeting was focused just on people who have used these programs, giving sort of testimony to the programs. We also had the Fair Housing Partnership for the last few months has spoke at our meeting and given some updates about demographics and things that they have been tracking, and have made that all very public. And then when we had our special October board meeting in the middle of the month, we did have public comment from Pittsburgh United gave public comment, as did Neighborhood Legal Services, the Fair Housing Partnership, and a couple of others. And we also did receive just a couple of public comments via our website, not a lot, but overall, I think the word has gotten out there, and we've received very positive feedback from some of the advocacy groups that are out there.
That's great. Thanks. Any questions from other board members or comments?
Just a comment. I was going to say I appreciate the board and folks that work on the Housing Opportunity Fund, including the voices and narratives of those with lived experience. I think that it's incredibly important for those who have experienced a housing crisis or housing instability to help shape his phone's gone off today. Help shape how this works. So I appreciate you and others making sure that those perspectives are included.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else from the board? If not, then I would entertain a motion to approve the plan.
So moved. Second.
Motion been seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Great.
We have Evan Miller, Brett Morgan next for Observatory Hill Development Court.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm presenting for approval URA financing for the completion of Bondview Phase 2 in the Observatory Hill neighborhood. Observatory Hill Development Corporation is the borrower on the project, and the Northside Leadership Conference is here as well as the development consultant. Bondview Phase 2 is a continuation of OHDC's efforts to, 1, increase affordable home ownership, and 2, stabilize housing values in the neighborhood. It includes the rehabilitation of 5 previously abandoned units, and then facilitates the sale of 3 4-bedroom units to home buyers at or below 80% area median income. The other 2 units of the 5 would then be sold at market rate value. So to accomplish this, OHDC is requesting financial support in the form of a $185,945 Pittsburgh Housing Construction Fund loan, a $150,409 PHCF grant, a $200,510 Housing Opportunity Fund for sale development program grant, and lastly, a $120,000 Housing Recovery Program agreement, which will directly provide $40,000 second deferred mortgages to each of those 3 80% units. The PHCF loan will be sourced with CDBG funds, and it will occupy a second lien position behind the primary West Banco first mortgage. The sale proceeds of each of those 5 units will then be used to pay down the balance of the PHCF loan. So essentially the total URA loan and grant amount with the HRPD agreement will be $656,864. And then lastly, with the inclusion of the Housing Opportunity FSDP grant, the 3 80% units will have a 99-year affordability restriction at the 80% income level. So as I mentioned, we have Darnell Jackson with the Northside Leadership Conference, and he's here to help address any questions you may have regarding Bondview Phase 2. Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. Darnell, anything to add?
No, just again, I wanted to thank you guys for your dedication to creating affordable houses in the North Side. You actually for this project have recently invested in the business district there. We've already done 5 houses on Bondview. This will be pretty much the culmination of some of our efforts in this area. And just want to thank you so much for this. We look forward to working with you through this project. So,
thank you for what you're doing over there. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Any questions from other board members? Any comments?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Lavelle. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Hirsch. It's motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So that is Observatory Hill.
We have the Brymart Apartments that will be presented by Evan Miller.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm here to talk about the Brymart Apartments on Bryceland Street in East Hills. It's a 36-unit affordable housing complex, and it's been in service for over 30 years, and it houses primarily seniors and people with disabilities. It was recently brought to the URA's attention that the property had been flagged by HUD for certain physical building issues, and that HUD would actually move to terminate their housing assistance payment contract that provides rent subsidies to the building on a monthly basis, keeping it affordable. If they lost this contract, that would potentially result in all of the current residents needing to be relocated. So that's what we're here today to try and avoid. The most pressing issue, and the one that's causing HUD to take this action, is the roof and the fact that it needs to be replaced as soon as possible. The leaks that they're experiencing are causing several units to be unleasable. So that's really hamstringing them from a cash flow perspective. It's also caused some issues with common areas. There's no longer carpet in the second floor hallway of the building because of water damage. Part of the ceiling is missing. So those are all issues that we're looking to address with the loan portion of this project. So Brimard themselves, they do have some cash on hand and reserves to help pay for some of these repairs. And the remainder is going to come from the URA rental gap loan increase that is before you today. There's existing debt on the property going back to the early 90s. And what we're proposing today is to restructure that, converting the outstanding principal and the outstanding interest into all principal, and then increasing that loan by $100,000 to cover the repairs that I just mentioned. Additionally, because of COVID-19, there's CDBG CARES Act funding available specifically for HVAC improvements to increase air quality and hopefully decrease the potential for the spread of the virus in affordable housing communities. Rising Tide Partners, led by Kendall Pelling, they're serving as the development consultant for this project, along with the HUD-appointed management team, Sea Wisdom Management. And today's staff is recommending that a $100,000 Community Development Investment Fund grant funded by CARES Act 3 money be made to Rising Tide Partners on behalf of Brimard to repair and replace some crucial elements of their HVAC that are well past their useful life at this point. Kendall Pelling from the development team is here today to take any questions. So with that, I'll turn it over to the board. So thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Evan. Kendall, do you want to add any additional commentary before we take questions or comments from the board?
Sure. I'd like to thank the URA for stepping in this emergency with this emergency request. Brimard Apartments is a nonprofit, single-purpose nonprofit with a good, well-meaning board. It's just the building has kind of gotten away from them and needs these improvements, and is really, I think, a critical part of the affordable housing supply. Most of the tenants who are in this building came through the homeless system at some point, and so getting these units back online will be a big impact. This is the emergency phase 1 of the project. We're also preparing a FAIR grant request for Brimard Apartments to seek additional funding for the long-term capital needs of the building, and also considering other longer-term improvements so that we can permanently secure these properties as part of the affordable housing supply.
Great, thank you.
And also, I just want to state real fast that the COVID money, CDBG CARES money that Evan mentioned has not been officially approved by council yet. It goes next week. If for whatever reason something happens, the URA would be prepared to cover the grant ourselves. But I just wanted to let people know that that is pending council approval next week.
Got it. And our authorization, the resolution covers either contingency, the way it's written?
Yes.
Okay, great. Any other questions, comments from the board? No, thank you, Councilman. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you. I'm glad we're able to step in and help here before it's too late. And next, I think Jeremy Carter is going to present on the Small Landlord Fund.
Thank you, Chairman. As a reminder, the Small Landlord Fund is a program that provides low interest financing for landlords to preserve or create quality affordable housing units, with an emphasis on expanding the availability of housing units that will work with the Housing Choice Voucher Program. The program currently offers up to $20,000 per unit or up to $60,000 per project. Currently, the Small Landlord Fund is funded by a 5-year $500,000 PRI from PNC Bank. Last October, the board approved authorization to enter into an agreement with the Center for Community Investment at the Lincoln Land Institute. The CCI at Lincoln Land will offer a $150,000 loan loss reserve for the small landlord fund. The URA and UPMC are participating in a three-year program with Robert Wood Johnson Foundation called Accelerating Investments for Healthy Communities. So with these commitments, UPMC is also required to invest in the program and will offer a $150,000 PRI with a 0% interest for 10 years. And so the chart there shows the three funding sources for the program. And today we are asking for authorization to borrow the $150,000 from UPMC as a program-related investment for 10 years. And we do have Kevin Proger from UPMC to answer any questions.
Thanks. Kevin, you want to add anything?
Just that, want to thank the URA, both Jessica Smith-Perry, Rebecca Wagnerson, Davidson Wagner, and Lindsay Powell for participating in the program over the course of this last couple of years. Their participation, expertise, and collaboration of this process has been incredibly helpful. And this is just part of the effort that UPMC Health Plan is really taking to address the social determinants of health in the community and try to benefit our neighbors. So we look forward to finding more ways to support innovative housing programs like the Small Landlord Fund, and appreciate the URA's continued alignment in these efforts.
Thank you. Any other questions, any comments from the board, any concerns?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Great. And I think we move into development services now, and beginning on the bluff.
Nathan will cover this
Nathan?
item.
Great.
Yes, I can take this one. Thank you and good afternoon. What we have today are a series of actions that will allow the URA to assemble some parcels between First Avenue and Second Avenue and convey them to a developer, 2P110 Cares, a Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania nonprofit developer, for the construction of a low barrier entrance homeless shelter. So quickly looking at these actions, the first one is our standard proposal form of contract. We're combining that with an authorization to close on these parcels. The next action is, and Daniel, you can go to the second slide on this one. I think it'll be helpful. The second action is a dedication of Old First Avenue. You can see it in gray here. We're also asking to accept the dedication of a portion of, vacate Municipal Courts Drive. Together, all of these transactions will create a 23,237 square foot parcel that's centered on what is currently a city motor pool lot. The URA will then convey that to the developer, who will look to build a 45,000 square foot, 95 bed low barrier entrance shelter that really is a unique and, as far as the development team can tell, first of its kind shelter, cutting edge, that combines occupancy for single residents, emergency shelter, a place for daytime stays, and even an area for the folks who will bring in pets. Again, it'll be a 95 bed shelter. For those who have been at the URA a long time, this will also allow us to finally dedicate First Avenue along the municipal court complex. The URA actually built that, I believe, in the 90s and has never been able to dedicate it. So that public right-of-way will be dedicated. It's important to note that there's a really tight timeline on this. The team wants to break ground in December, so this shelter can be open in winter 2022. We received a lot of cooperation from our partners at the city, so this can happen. So part of the reason that you're seeing this for the first time, and really the only time for this board, is that staff is going to spend a lot of time reviewing the submissions before A, selling the property, and then B, separately authorizing a full construction start. Along with a lot of cooperation and collaboration from the city and the county, PNC has taken the lead, kind of in the team lead in coordinating everything, and they have donated $5 million. Highmark has also made a substantial contribution of $5 million, and UPMC is making an in-kind contribution of $5 million. Working with the PNC team, Linda Metropolis from Action Housing is kind of the project lead, and she is on the line. So I'll turn it over to her, and she and I can also answer any questions that you may have on this.
Nathan, can you explain what it means to dedicate a road, it looks like in this case?
Sure. So when a public road is built, it doesn't, ownership doesn't, if it's on a privately owned parcel, ownership doesn't switch to the city until city council accepts the dedication of the street as a public right of way. So for a variety of reasons, that never happened with First Avenue. But as part of this, we're getting an accurate survey and as-built to First Avenue, and the city will take ownership of First Avenue in this part of the city.
Thank you.
So I'll jump in. Nathan, you did a great job. I don't need to say a whole lot more other than I really always appreciate a chance to talk about this incredible project and to recognize all the forces that have come together to make it happen quickly. And especially important at this time of COVID when more people are facing homelessness. And we really see this new program, it's building, but a series of programs that really will work very closely to help people who are facing homelessness or who are in fact homeless to move beyond and get stable housing again. So I won't talk about actually the programs that happen there. It is, the effort started about a year ago with the leadership of 5 entities, Allegheny Conference, Mayor's Office, PNC, Highmark, and UPMC. And yes, I have to recognize that I said both Highmark and UPMC. So it's been a great partnership from day one. Very interesting to be part of it. $21 million project, leadership grants, PNC and Highmark, and then UPMC providing $5 million of services. Also have a fair amount of philanthropic support. It's our plan to start construction in January, which is part of the reason for the haste in pulling this together, and then start occupancy about 12 months later. In a nutshell, Project Cares will provide housing, support, healthcare, and other resources that empower individuals who are experiencing homelessness to achieve greater self-sufficiency on a path to safe and secure housing. So this is an important part of an existing safety net. The fact that we'll be able to have a clinic for physical and behavioral health, a food service program that potentially is going to be operated by Community Kitchen Pittsburgh, the low barrier quality of the project, and the drop-in center makes this really very unique in the Allegheny County network of services to homeless. So on behalf of all those people working on this project, much gratitude to the city of Pittsburgh and the staff of the URA for making this happen, and especially Nathan Clark and ML Meyer for making it happen quickly so that we can be open and operating hopefully about 14 months from now. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Any questions from the board?
I was just going to say, I've been a part of this project and helping to move along at the city side. And so I think I should abstain from the vote, but I do want to say how thoughtful this project is when it comes to addressing the layered needs that someone possibly experiencing homelessness has. This center is truly, the way that it's designed is incredibly thoughtful. Like I said, it's from concerns someone may have about leaving their pet behind, to trying to make sure that maybe some mental health issues are addressed. It does a really good job of trying to be sensitive to all the needs that someone has. And so I'm really happy that it's moving forward and moving forward quickly. And just want to thank Linda and the rest of the team who've been working on this diligently for bringing this together so quickly.
And thank you. So if there are no other questions or comments, then a motion to approve would be in order. There's only two of you who can do it since Lindsay's abstaining.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show that Director Powell has abstained. But the motion is approved. So thank you very much.
Next
Great,
up,
thanks,
we
Linda.
have Jack Keener with Larimer's Habitat for Humanity for sale development.
Hi again, everyone. This is a proposal involving 4 URA owned parcels to be conveyed to Habitat for Humanity to build 2 single family homes that are within the 30 to 65% AMI and for first time homeowners in the Larimer neighborhood. And so the following actions are requested: approval of proposal, form of disposition contracts, final drawings and final evidence of financing, as well as authorization to execute the deed for $3,000. And this is contingent on a finalized MWBE plan, which will be confirmed before closing. We do have MWBE and MWI narratives on file. So a little more information about this project. The 2 sites are on Meadow Street and Carver Street. You can see the 4 parcels there. Again, it's 35 to 60% AMI for first-time home buyers. Each unit holds three bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, and are about 1,300 square feet. Total, so, and the sale price right now is estimated to be about $160,000, which is subsidized in part through Habitat's Fund for Humanity, which is specifically meant to fund their home ownership program through a pot of unencumbered funds, which right now is about $250,000. And like I said, this sale will be contingent on an approved MWBE plan, which will come before closing. And I believe Dr. Howard Slaughter, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Greater Pittsburgh Area Habitat Chapter, is also on the line. If he would like to give any remarks on this project and help answer any questions.
Dr. Slaughter, you're
thank you.
Now you're unmuted. Thanks.
Hear me okay now? Thank you very much, Jack. We appreciate it. We're very excited about the opportunity to partner with the Larimer Consensus Group. We have been working with them for a very long time. We have a 5-year initiative on our quality of life framework, and this is just part of it. We believe that home ownership is the key to people growing their assets and their net worth. You all know that home ownership is still about the largest asset on most Americans' balance sheet. This is going to have a substantive difference in the community. And we're really excited about this opportunity to begin our efforts over the next 4.5 years. We've received funds from UPMC and many others that have supported our efforts. Let me just say also that I've worked with the URA for about 30 years in various capacities. I'm very excited about the leadership with Greg and DeMonte, and I want to thank Richard Snipes and ML and Jack and others who have helped us. But I really have found that it's been a very good, fluid process, and I'm really happy about that. So thank you very much. We're looking forward to doing more, and we're growing, and we're real excited about this opportunity in Larmer. We're also, I should say, we just completed a major rehab in Larmer on Lowell Street. We are also doing a rehab right now on Mayflower Street. So while we're doing home ownership, we're also providing home ownership through our home repair programs and for home ownership programs for many of the residents here in Larmer. So we're real excited about this, and we believe that it's a way to continue the efforts to make a difference in the communities in which we serve.
That is great. Thanks, Dr. Slaughter, for everything you guys are doing and for your kind words.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Any
Dr. Slaughter.
questions or comments or anything else to add from the board or from anybody else?
Motion to approve.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. And I think we go to Homewood now, and Operation Better Block. Jack, you're going to present on this too, right?
I am, yep. And so this is a proposal for a duplex on one URA owned parcel and the adjoining parcel that's already owned by Operation Better Block. And similar to the Habitat proposal, we're seeking approval of proposal, form of disposition contract, final drawings, final evidence of financing, and authorization to execute deed. Dan, if you could go to the next slide, please. This site is on Hermitage Street in Homewood North, specifically in the 6th cluster, or cluster 6. This is aimed towards families making 50% AMI or below, and that comes out to about a monthly rent of $750. We also have MWBE narrative on file for this project, but a finalized plan will be confirmed before closing as well. What more to say? The unit is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or I should say both units are 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and equipped with those appliances you can see there: washing machines, dryers, air conditioning, and a furnace. Jerome Jackson is the executive director of Operation Better Block. And so I'll give the floor to him now if you'd like to say a couple remarks.
Sure. Thank you, John. Thank you, URA board, for considering Operation Better Block in our efforts in developing Homewood. This project we know is very important as we look at rental housing in Homewood and the conditions of rental housing in Homewood. This is something that will allow us to provide some safe, clean, and decent rental units for some moderate to low income families. So we're just excited that we're able to purchase some property from you guys. We own the adjoining lot to really make this thing happen. It also allows us to continue to build our credibility with the Federal Home Loan Bank, as the majority of the funds for this project is coming from them. So your work with us helps us gain some credibility with them as we continue to apply for funds. So we do appreciate all your support in our work. So thank you.
Sure.
Great. Any questions? Can we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motioned twice and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That's awesome. Thanks, Jerome.
All right. We are nearing the end of the agenda, the voting agenda anyway.
Yes.
So this
Now we
item will be
talk about another new roof.
on the Homewood Coliseum. So Mac will be rejoining us to present this item.
Thank you, Diamante. Hello again. I'm excited to ask for authorization to enter into an agreement with Leo Carius Construction Company for the Homewood Coliseum roof replacement project in the city of Pittsburgh. The amount of the contract would be $867,000, $867,400. The funding source for this project is Real Estate General, and the work, I believe, is tentatively scheduled to start in January. In addition, we ask for authorization to enter an agreement for construction management and construction inspection services with RIG Consulting. They are a WBE firm. There were 5 RFPs received on October 1st. RIG was the premier choice for this project. And the funding source for this agreement is Citywide PAYGO 2017. And if I may add, we had a widely distributed to our MWB networks for this project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Pretty straightforward. Put a roof on this building so it doesn't fall apart.
That's it.
I think a motion would be in order.
So move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And that finally brings us to agenda B, which I think is pretty straightforward this month. So a motion to approve in its entirety would be appropriate. Diamante, unless you want to flag anything.
There's one flag.
We have one correction to make. Item 1D, any reference to Larimer Phase 2 LP or Larimer Phase 4 LP should be removed and replaced with the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh.
Okay, so this is reducing the grant agreements. So the entity is wrong.
Correct, that is correct.
Okay. Okay, with that correction, any other flags or questions around agenda B?
Motion to approve in its entirety as amended.
Second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to the conclusion of the November meeting. Thank you to all the staff and board and panelists. Everybody stay safe out there. Have a COVID-friendly Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Chairman.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.